is another moment of Tucker Carlson's dreadful speech that's currently going viral at the moment, and lots of the, I guess you could call them true conservatives, the ones that hold dear the values that God or Jesus espoused in the Bible, they live by them, or at least they try to live by them. And they look at people like Tucker and they hear what he has to say and they align it with whether or not Jesus had to say that or whether or not it's actually right. And a lot of them have gotten really upset at Tucker Carlson recently, even though Tucker claims to be Christian or he claims to be conservative. His values or what he's been saying at the moment would signal anything but that. And it's quite concerning. But Tucker decided to hit out at conservatives for supposedly taking these fake victory laps when it comes to the trans ideology, when it comes to boys playing against girls and boys being in female locker rooms and on the girls' soccer teams and everything like that. He claims that that's not that important. Even though he doesn't want that to happen, he just thinks that it's an appetizer. And and conservatives shouldn't be taking these kind of like fake victory laps, as he calls it, over something that is actually a crucial issue and has affected many, many girls and parents too, for that matter. It has caused a major issue in our society. It was a huge issue for a number of years. And thanks to Trump, things have started to change. But if it wasn't for Trump, I think Tucker's tune would be completely different. I don't think that he'll be going, oh, it's a fake victory lap. But to me, I'm looking at this and going, no, this is a huge issue. But according to Tucker, he's going, that's not that important. There's something much more important over here, guys. And that big boogeyman, it's causing a great deal of issue in our society, according to Tucker Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, keeping in mind that Tucker Carlson was the one that fearmongered World War III recently that never actually happened. Yes, the same Tucker Carlson, he's saying Israel is the major problem here. We should worry about Israel, not necessarily the trans ideology that is sweeping across and affecting thousands of people's lives. And the biggest campaign on the biggest video campaign in Trump's like campaign thing was Kamala is for they, them. Trump is for you. That was a huge deal breaker for American audiences or American voters. That's not me saying that. That's what the electoral votes showed, as well as the surveys based on that ad. And Tucker's just going, nah, that's a fake victory lap, man. Have a watch of this.
You deny people what they actually want long enough and instead substitute things that you claim they should want, like bombing Iran. You know, I mean, I'm not for Iran, where you spend all day telling me that it's so important that, you know, boys not playing girls' soccer teams, whatever. I agree. I hate the passionately. I think you should keep the boys off girls' soccer teams. But I don't know. It kind of feels like you're feeding me appetizers. At some point, I want to look around and see a better country. I want to see a country I recognize. I don't want to see people sleeping on the sidewalk. I don't want to see people ODing on drugs. I want to know where those drugs coming from. Why can't you stop it? You've got the U.S. military. Don't you have SEAL Team 6? Like, what are they doing today? Don't you have Delta Force? You could give me another segment about how impressive the U.S. military is? I believe you. Why aren't they employed to make my country better? Why are my cities disgusting? I don't even want to go there. It smells like weed and halal food. And you're lecturing me about how it's a great moral victory that I kicked the boys off the girls' soccer team? Good, I'm so glad. But let's do the real stuff, like making New York livable and create an economy where my kids can have kids. How about this? How about we just make the measure really super simple? Can my children have without the benefit of like the great luck I have had, can they have a roughly approximate life that I had? Or how about just a middle-class life? Can they like get married young, as I did, and like have 4 kids and, you know, take a couple jobs, work hard and all that stuff? But in the end, it's like, fine. Can they do that? Or is that like so remote a possibility that you need to tell me that Iran is the real threat? Take my mind off the fact that you stole all the money and screwed up my country beyond recognition.
Why don't we do both? Have you ever thought about that, Tucker Carlson? Why is one issue, according to you, why is the homeless or the city issue, why is that somehow more important to you than actually a young child's life that is being butchered and castrated at the hands of this radical ideology? How is that an appetizer, Tucker? Our kids' future is at stake, and yet you don't seem to care. No, it's just an appetizer for you. I want to focus more on whether or not my cities are livable. How about SEAL Team 6? Why are they not employed? This is why Tucker Carlson, ladies and gentlemen, is not the president of the United States. Because I'll have you know, Trump is working very, very hard to make all the cities livable once again, to get all the crimes, to get all the illegals out. Hence why you have ICE, man, going around trying to get all of the drug dealers, you name it, out of the country. Deport them back from where they came from. Crime needs to go down, but you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? He's only been in office not even a year yet. So you've got a long time to go, Tucker Carlson. But seriously, how dare you say and diminish or minimize a major issue that so many conservatives have been fighting for a number of years to win? No, you don't minimize that at all for an issue that has been going on for the same amount of time, if not longer. They're both important issues. But you can't say that one is just an appetizer and the other one is the main course. That's ridiculous. They all need to be dealt with equally, if you ask me. And when I mean equally, I'm talking about the right kind of action for both. Okay, maybe you need agents on the street. And then obviously if you've got with the trans ideology, if you've got people doing the wrong thing, you need to deal with it. Chloe Cole, who I've had on my show, who's a detransitioner, whose life was actually impacted in a major way because of this trans ideology. Can you imagine how the victims of this trans ideology must be feeling, hearing Tucker Carlson, who claims to be a conservative, go, oh, it's just an appetizer. Don't worry about it too much. I want something that's more meaty, man. Can you imagine how she was feeling? She wasn't happy with it. She goes, I hope people see this aversion for what it is. There is a group within the right that is trying to pit MAGA against itself in order to destroy it. We can end gender ideology. We can clean up our cities. We can have SEAL Team 6. Exactly what I was saying. Does that mean our cultural victories are fake? No. The same thing happened to the left last decade. I want a sustainable MAGA movement that will improve our country for a decade or more, not some flash in the pan that will lead to more progressivism, which is exactly what Tucker Carlson is trying to say. And obviously the usual suspects came out in full support of Tucker Carlson. You guessed it, Candace Owens. Tucker is a real one. Right. Sure he is. Now, I've been saying for quite some time, I'm pretty sure a number of you have already heard me say this, but Tucker seems to be very obsessed with Israel at the moment. And the strangest thing about people who claim to say you're not allowed to talk about the Jews is that's all they do. They talk about the Jews loudly, consistently on major platforms. So that was said by Avi Many, who's actually right. So who's more in the right here? The ones that say, oh, you're not allowed to talk about the Jews, but yet they go on and talk about the Jews quite consistently, quite negatively. Interesting, isn't it? When you actually look at it from a rational standpoint. But anyway, my friends, I hope that you learned something from this. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But I personally think that whatever Tucker was saying, it seems like he's very much demon possessed at the moment. And he needs some help and he needs to be taken off stage quite considerably. There's other moments too in his speech that is going viral as well about how he doesn't want IDF folk to have citizenship. Shouldn't be allowed to have citizenship in America if you're a dual citizen. No, that's just because you're part of the IDF. I hate to break it to you, Tucker, but pretty much everyone, as like if you're Israeli, you got to be part of the IDF at some point. 2 years mandatory service. Yeah, nah. So Tucker's got no idea. He really doesn't have any idea. He's lost the plot, and it seems like money has just gotten to his head, and people just latch on to the things that he says because he's got a very loud voice. He's got a big platform. And to me, it's shocking how far one has fallen. Anyway, that is enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.